All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Good to see you. We're live on Rockfin. What's up, Rockfin people? Rockfin people, how you doing? What's up, G. Demarest? Bonjour, bonjour. Minus 11. Yikes. Yikes. I know it's very cold all around the country. Serenity, Tranquility, Peace says it would be better to dump the whole stinking system and take the consequences. Pretty much in accordance. Few people saying there are no solutions. I mean, I don't know. No solution to overshoot. I did get an after hours Rockfin tip from John House. Thank you for the Rockfin tip, John House. We're live on Callin, Rockfin, YouTube. Contemplative Prague on Rockfin says cold and freezing rain, but the real cold is coming in tomorrow night. The poor jet stream. Tomorrow night, really? I thought today was the day it was supposed to get in there, but maybe I'm wrong. Hung out with Hambone yesterday. Ate an omelet. He ate some pancakes. And we chatted it up a little bit. I haven't actually checked into Hambone's show lately, so it's been a while. Minus 12C in Vancouver. High of negative 5C. Yoo-hoo. Ouch. I don't want none of that. Where do we go? Cracker Barrel, IHOP, or Denny's? No, we actually went to this place in Studio City called Vivian's, which was actually pretty nice. I'd never been there before, and I was like, didn't know this was here. Should have taken some pictures or something. I didn't document the event. We just hung out. We hung out and we ate some food. But Sam's off to warmer climes, and I'm still here in LA, where we're being spared. And I don't mean to rub it in, but we're being spared the cold snap that everybody else is feeling. We're in like the one pocket of the country that still has like warm air. And that's probably going to last through Christmas. All right. You're in West Virginia, Contemplative Prague. Golly. It's cold, cold, cold. We did talk about a few things. Maybe stuff I'm going to talk about later in the show. But we talked about how his views on COVID drove away some of his audience. I don't know if that's true. I mean, we kind of share the same views about it, but I don't know if it was as true for me, but a little bit. I remember having a lot of verbal battles with people in the chats about COVID and other things, but I don't know. Who knows? It didn't seem like it was. It seems like all y'all are pretty. You got it together. What's up, Basil? How you doing? Blizzard and Finger Lakes. Good lord. Alberta negative 46C. Antarctica negative 28C. Yikes. I don't know. It's been a weird couple of years for sure, especially in the independent journalists camp. It's been a tough time for independent journalists. 9 degrees. Joseph Wood says 9 degrees Fahrenheit in eastern Washington. Man, anything under 30 is butt ass cold to me. Anything under 30, I'm just like, whoa, oh dear Lord, I don't want nothing to do with this. So, but I certainly don't want that 4-minute frostbite. Max Sarge says, still doing the non-vax shuffle. It's only those who are vaxes at half a problem. I didn't understand the comment. Anyways, yeah, only it's, we'll talk about it a little more later. When I'm exclusively on Rockfin. All right, let's talk about some things. I don't know. I saw this and I was like, I can't, it's like, I understand people's resistance to like the future as mapped out by the World Economic Forum. I get it. I get all that. But some of the solutions aren't, and some of the problems that they're outlining and some of the solutions that they're outlining aren't actually bad at all. I think it's just a matter of whether people are allowed to choose those things for themselves or decide on those things and implement those things themselves, right? Like, if there was a citizens committee on how best to organize your state or your town or your local neighborhood, you choose the same you choose the same answers, but the way that it's being presented actually raises some eyebrows for me. It raises eyebrows when the resistance looks as propagandistic and dogmatic and epithet filled as the people that you're supposedly fighting, right? When when your side actually starts to mimic the side that you don't like, I'm like, what is this really about? I mean, somebody posts this video. We'll play it. I'll play it. It says, "Wow, 15-minute totalitarian propaganda." And I had to just say, why is it totalitarian? Why, maybe it's propaganda. I'll go with you on the propaganda part, but why is it totalitarian? Why, what makes it totalitarian? Is it only the people that are presenting it? In 2 minutes of corporate narrative horror. Check it out. Okay, but what they're presenting is actually not that big of a deal, right? So you might be resisting the people that are behind this, and you might say they're bad. But there are certain things that aren't all that horrible, right? Like, there are people out there like, they want you to give up your cars and only take public transportation. Wow, that sounds terrible to me. Like, come on, man. Everything about that is logical. Even if you don't like the people presenting the idea itself is totally fine and desirable and better, right? Or the cities in Europe that are getting rid of cars inside the city, right? And making a lot of walking space. That's what we need in the world is greenery, more greenery, cars, less cars. What the world needs now is, less industrial civilization, right? I think we all, as climate change aware people, can understand, can get behind that and get with that idea. So when people present, a little less industrial civilization, people losing their minds over it is just, it's not actually all that intelligent, really. Gene says, news for Minneapolis, where my older brother is. Winter storm warning. Travel Thursday afternoon through Saturday morning could be impossible and life-threatening. Anyways, I'll play this, and then, God dang it, you tell me how this is horror, or Anyways, let's see.
Before the recent lockdowns around the world, we led hectic lives with long commutes and not enough time to spend with our families and friends. Traffic polluted our...
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there and just, she said we live hectic lives with long commutes and not enough time for our friends. That's true. That's actually true. And when lockdowns actually happen, I know lockdowns are just only supposed to be bad. But when the lockdown happened, I was kind of like, everybody was like, oh, we're hanging out with our family. We have a lot of time to just kind of chill out and think about things and relax a little bit. And it seems like nature's bouncing back a little bit. So I propose that there's two sides of the thing. Like, I don't, you don't want like lockdowns in the sense that you want everybody confined to their homes or bolted into their apartment buildings. Like, you don't want that. But there were some benefits to it. You have to admit. Some people, you have to admit there were benefits to it. So maybe hate the people proposing this if you want, but don't hate the ideas. Some of the ideas might be totally... We do live hectic lives with long commutes, and it's, quality of life is not very good, and we're constantly racing here and there and here and there and here and there, and we don't have enough money to pay the bills. Oh my God. Right? You have people trying to opt out of that life all the time. Why? Because it's just, it's maddening. So what's wrong with getting rid of that a little bit? Or what's wrong with agreeing like, well, maybe that's not such a bad idea. Or people who are like, oh, they want you to live your life by Zoom. Well, maybe not everything is good. Maybe, maybe school for kids is not great in a Zoom thing, but what's wrong? Is it that bad? Like, people want to telecommute. People want to work remotely. People want to, they don't want to go into the office. A lot of people don't want to do that or spend half their day on the freeway. Like, yeah. Who wants to do that? But people are saying like somehow that's crazy. That's craziness. I don't know, man. I think you might be crazy. I love traffic. I love spending 2 hours on the freeway back and forth to my job. I just love it. Freedom. Okay.
And small, blanketed or skylines.
What if it could be different? What if we could create a new normal where we reclaim our time, our health and well-being, and our communities?
This is the idea behind the 15-minute city, a growing movement to make our lives in cities more convenient, less stressful, and more sustainable. A 15-minute city is one where everything we need is close to home, where communities are safe and inclusive, where
I also want you to recognize that this is actually propaganda from people who are not into this, right? Because they put, that little crawler in the bottom, depopulation agenda. What about this is they're talking about having walkable cities. They're talking about everything being kind of close by and convenient, and not, urban sprawl where everything is 40 minutes away by car. That's Los Angeles. Everything is 40 minutes away by car, or an hour and a half. Right? And there's nothing close by that, got to get in your car to go drive to the store, right? Like all that kind of stuff. There is not, I don't know. Maybe you think it might be weird, but there's nothing weird about these ideas. This idea is not weird. It's actually desirable. And if we all lived like, if we lived in like, hyper local kind of, localized cooperatives, I guess, if you want to call them that, where we're growing our own food and everything is hyper local. Well, doesn't it sound like that? Where everything is close by and you don't have to get in your car to drive, I just be aware of all the people that are telling you that there's no solutions and all the solutions are bad. Every single one of them are bad. Like, I don't, nuance, people, nuance. Can you take the ideas themselves and separate them from, maybe who's producing the video, or I don't know. G. Demarest says it took me 45 minutes to walk to the nearest mall yesterday. I'm in suburban hell. Basil says control the food, the housing, the power, and control the sheep. Yeah. I think that's what people are afraid of, and I get it. I totally get it. But the freedom to live as we do now has a lot of drawbacks, right? There are a lot of drawbacks to it. Right? So, is capitalism really treating people so well? Do we live in a great system now? Is all our, supposed freedom really helping people? Anyways. Gene says, Kevin, that would require emotional maturity and higher level thinking skills. Indeed. Anyways, we'll watch the rest of this.
A 15-minute city is one where it's easy to get goods and services, fresh groceries, healthcare, and other amenities are all just a short trip away. A 15-minute city is one where everyone has a place.
A 15-minute city has affordable, accessible, and adaptable housing for households of all sizes and ages.
A 15-minute city means that you can work close to home or work remotely more often.
And we all play a role in our neighborhood. What if we don't go back to life as it was?
This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen.
Okay.
What if we already have the power to change how we live? Together, we can reimagine and create the future.
So this is like cut in with like Klaus Schwab, and they're trying to make this seem like what a horrible, terrible idea this is. Okay. Don't become propagandists, people. Yeah, Truth says utopia. I mean, to me, the problem with that, the problem with that is, yes, it looks like just another, utopian concept of what the future will look like, right? And we all know, generally, the utopian concept from whoever's planning things out, it never ends up really being that way. Right? Anyways, I just want to show that video. I just thought it was a little bit ridiculous. Certainly, I'm for less. Gene says Cuba would do it. Why can't y'all? Peter Dine says political leaders constantly call for growth as the solution to all societal problems. How wrong they are. Growth is the problem. And there you go. And we talk about this every single day. We need more things and more jobs and more stuff. Okay, here's an interesting video because this guy equates climate lockdowns using COVID as a model. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I don't know about the lockdown part, but there were things. Why is this happening? It's so weird. There were things about the lockdown part of COVID that actually was beneficial to climate change. And people really do resist this. There we go. I was like, my charger isn't charging again on my computer. Basil Peterson says the century of self is not over. This is true. Right. Cuba is actually a pretty great example of communism. Are they perfect? No, of course not. Of course they aren't perfect. But they're kind of a better model. They're very sustainable. They grow a lot of their own food. They give everybody free health care. Oh my God, it sounds terrible. Right? We get totalitarianism on some levels. We just get freedom of choice. We get totalitarianism like just underneath all this, freedom of choice that we have. But we don't get any health care. We work, a lot of people work for substandard wages. We have wealth inequality. We have, our standard of living, our life expectancy is going down. People don't control their own food sources. We're probably the most, if not one of the most corrupt countries in the world. We have a lot of problems. So pointing at Cuba and going, oh, they're bad and totalitarian. Really? Okay. Sure. Cuba has developed a treatment to end diabetes and the U.S. is blocking it. There you go. And Cuba sends doctors out, all over the world when there's health crises. They send doctors to other countries. Here, let us help you. Right? Gene says Cuba has the best human rights of any country in the Western Hemisphere. Cuba's not a bad model. And probably the only thing that people could say about Cuba, or that they would try to say is, oh, but they're, they lock their dissidents up. Oh, we don't lock our dissidents up? We do. We actually do that all the time. And then the other thing they might say is, oh, their standard of living is not what, okay, but, we now see that our standard of living is not a gauge of happiness or well-being. We might have a better standard of living, but we actually still don't have free health care. There's, look at all the homeless population is exploding. Doesn't look like our standard of living is holding up very well, right? Right? People filing for medical bankruptcy all the time, or just regular old bankruptcy, or just, bankrupting themselves with credit card debt. Oh, look what our standard of living is doing for everyone. Oh my God. So maybe that's not a really good point to bring up. Let's listen to this.
Bewältigung des Klimawandels seien Maßnahmen nötig, so und dann jetzt wörtlich, die analog zu den Einschränkungen der persönlichen Freiheit in der Pandemiebekämpfung seien. Wie haben Sie das denn gemeint? Also ich kann ja jetzt beispielsweise weniger Bewältigung des Klimawandels seien Maßnahmen nötig, so, und dann jetzt wörtlich, die analog zu den Einschränkungen der persönlichen Freiheit in
Okay, so this is also another like cut. This is cut to make these people look crazy. Fine, do what you must. But he's saying, so you're saying the same controls that were used to control COVID are the ones that we need to control climate change? And he's saying, yes.
der Pandemiebekämpfung sein. Wie haben Sie das denn gemeint?
Also ich kann ja jetzt beispielsweise weniger reisen, weil also die Reisebegrenzungen notwendig sind, damit wir nicht das Virus von einer Region, wo hohe Prävalenz ist, in eine andere Region
We need travel restrictions so we don't bring the virus back from other parts of the world. Sorry, I'm not showing this to you.
übertrage. Ich muss auf viele Dinge verzichten, die ich gerne machen würde, weil es
A
schädlich
lot of the things I enjoy doing, I cannot do at the moment because of health restrictions or a health threat.
wäre für die öffentliche Gesundheit. Ich glaube, dass wir bestimmte Beschränkungen akzeptieren müssen, wollen wir den Klimawandel beherrschen. Das
I think we need certain restrictions to control climate change.
wird zum Beispiel gehören, dass wir nicht also so viel reisen, wie jeder reisen könnte. Ich würde es übrigens
That means less travel as well. Hold on one second, guys.
auch noch nicht mal für ausgeschlossen halten, dass wir in der Klimakrise in eine Situation kommen, wo wir das ein oder andere
We could end up in a situation where, because of climate change, we would would have to prohibit certain things.
tatsächlich sogar verbieten müssen.
Aber das ist doch genau das, was manche Kritiker
But this is exactly what critics are afraid of.
jetzt befürchten, dass die Einschränkungen, die in der
That the current corona measures are being used as a blueprint for climate dictatorship.
Corona-Pandemie benutzt werden als Blaupause für sowas, ich sage es in Anführungszeichen, wie eine Klimadiktatur.
Ja, aber das sind auch Verschwörungstheorien.
He says, oh, but those are conspiracy theories.
Wieso? Sie haben doch gerade erzählt, dass die Corona-Maßnahmen Vorbild sein sollen und müssen für die noch viel größere Klimakatastrophe.
What are your thoughts on this, people? Give it to me. Oh, yeah. Well, I just read it along. What are your all thoughts on this? I mean, I see climate change, the ability for them to use it as a pretext for locking everyone down. I see that. I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter because climate change will really change things to such an extent that it will be hard to control things, right? When things really fall apart, or when you try to control people in general, they're going to resist. The more strict, like Roger Hallam was saying yesterday, if you continue down the road of trying to, more controls, what you're going to get is extreme resistance. And that's true. But combine that with actually a world in upheaval because of climate change, and you're going to have even a harder time of controlling things. But I do recommend, they say, you will own nothing and be happy. Agenda 2030. Here it comes. I say, if you don't learn to be happy with a lot less, or to not even be happy, just live. If you don't learn to negotiate your life with a lot less, you're going to be in big trouble. The COVID lockdowns did result in less air pollution, and they did. They did result in lowering of emissions, and they did. My thoughts are that What are we doing? Full speed ahead. Industrial civilization. Full speed ahead. They're trying to piecemeal, like, stop some things here and there, but you're going to stop industrial civilization as it is. You're going to do that. I don't think you're going to do it. I don't think it's going to happen. And on top of that, again, dumb plans. Because the people who are in power because they control the levers of industrial civilization. So if you bring down industrial civilization, you take the levers away from them on some level. Anyways, I don't know. I just want to play that. COVID is not climate change. Climate change is not COVID. They're two totally different and separate subjects. So you can't actually relate one to the other. Here's an interesting post by the FBI. The FBI says, and this is in regards to the revelations around Twitter, the Twitter files. The FBI responds to Twitter file dumps. It is unfortunate that conspiracy theorists and others are feeding the American public misinformation with the sole purpose of attempting to discredit the agency. How could they do such a thing? Oh my God. They used all the proper words though, right? Conspiracy theorists. Well, they got that one in right away. And then they got in misinformation. Right? It's the conspiracy theorists giving people the misinformation. And this is why all the bad things happen ever in life. If only there was no misinformation or conspiracy theorists, then everything would be fine for us. But that's the FBI telling you about misinformation. All right. Probably going to jump off YouTube and go to the rest of the show on Rockfin. Serious question. What is the purpose of modern mainstream news organization? It's from Eric Weinstein. Comrade Misty says to serve power and manufacture reality. I mean, pretty much. Make sure the low information voters follow the narrative preferred by elites. Sure. Somebody thinks that only low information voters are on the right. Basil says, I live off-grid in the middle of nowhere and had a DEA helicopter go over my garden. Of course you did. Of course you did. Y'all remember in the beginning of the pandemic when I said, I bet the FBI is watching this channel right now, and then somebody in the chat with an official FBI logo said, how's it going, guys? You all remember that? Like clockwork. All right, we are going to skip over to Rockfin. Thank you, YouTubers, for hanging out. Before I leave, check the coffees, buymeacoffee.com/BlackBearNews. That's a good way to support the channel. I'll check them before the end of the show. Rockfin Tips, also like them. No Rockfin Tips as of yet, but I will check in on them later. All right, YouTubers, thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Friday Fix tomorrow, where it's even more loose of a format. We'll hang out. We'll take some calls on call-in.